I'm not a very academic or philosophical person. So my thoughts on leadership are practical, and it's what I've experienced. What makes a leader? That's the question. I believe that a large number of people are born or they're able to develop leadership qualities. But it's not only a combination of qualities that makes one a leader. So what does? I'd like to ask you, is it not situations or events that take place? I believe that the kind of leader required at any point in time is largely influenced by the situation that people or an institution would find themselves in. A part of what makes a leader is a bit of luck. It's being in the right place or right situation at the right time. Obviously, just being at that place isn't enough, because a true leader will be able to identify that point in time and that situation provides the opportunity to take up a leading role. Identify opportunities. Now, once you've identified a situation, that's where the real challenge, that first challenge, comes in. Are you willing to take a risk? Because being a leader involves a huge number of risks. Reputational risk being a major one. Risk of strain on your personal life, on your family. Risk of stress and health disorders and early grey hairs. And then a big one, risk of failure. Leaders must know how to identify risk, assess it, and minimize it. And they don't only do this when deciding on whether or not to take up a leadership role, but every crucial decision they take involves risk. Of course, the converse is just as bad, if not worse. And that's not taking any decision. And that seems almost endemic in South Africa today. We have too many leaders who are too scared to take a major decision or a firm stance, and so they rather just push it to somebody else and hope that it'll go away. And so it just rolls over from year to year to year. So obviously I took a huge risk when deciding to stand as mayor. There was a risk that I wouldn't be acceptable to my party or to my colleagues. A risk that I may fail dismally and then run a relatively good municipality into the ground. There's a risk that I would damage my own name and reputation for the rest of my life. Because if you make a few really bad decisions, it's very difficult to recover from. There's a risk that I would prove my skeptics right, that someone as young as I should never have been allowed to take up that position. So once I decided to take these risks, I decided that really it's for me to prove my skeptics wrong. You mustn't assume, well, you know, now I'm mayor of Midvaal and everybody must just think I'm wonderful. That's not going to happen. So I made it my mission to drive the length and breadth of Midvaal. And in doing this, you obtain something that all leaders must have. And that's information. Because the more information I have at my disposal, the better decisions I can take. And the more good decisions I take, the more respected I am as a leader. I can tell you that almost 90% of the bad decisions I've taken were as a result of a lack of information. And it's not about not trusting people. It's just that maybe the people who work for you don't have the same passion as what you do. And they're not going to go into it in as much depth as you would like them to. So when I was elected mayor, I went away for a few days on a little sabbatical, and I returned with a very simple list of things that I wanted to achieve. But once we had achieved most of those targets, I went away again and returned with new targets and new ideas. And after 3 years, that practice still continues. There's never 1 minute in Midvaal where people feel that they fully achieved, because I'm always changing the goalposts just before they've achieved a target. Because the minute a leader is not driving change, you open up the space for somebody else to do it for you. And then you're no longer leading. I learned that the crux of my job is to lead people in such a way that they're motivated,